Hello class, my name is, as you know, Lyndon Reed, and I am in a group for our Animal Rights Seminar with Kelsey Dorston, Zoe Sommers, and Nina Garcia. We chose two specific topics for our animal rights documentary to determine the extent to which animal rights is an issue on and around the Sam Houston campus. The two topics that we chose were the rights of animals in research situations and the extent to which the stray population is a problem around the Huntsville campus. So we asked each of our interviewees a set of questions and then they responded in kind, and this gave us the following video.
All right, could you give us your name and your title here at Rita B. Hub?
My name is Mario Lane Lemon. I'm the Executive Director at the shelter.
My name is Amber Bartelt, and I'm a graduate student here at Sam Houston.
I'm Julia Green. I'm a musical theater student at Sam and doing this interview.
I'm Cameron Davis, and I'm a sophomore musical theater major.
My name's Bill Thomas. I'm the production coordinator for the theater here at University Theater Center at Sam Houston.
My name is Aaron Lynn. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Biological Sciences.
Right, first question. How do you imagine you'd feel if a creature on Earth was captured and had its organs removed while it was alive?
Uncomfortable. I would feel bad for it.
Well, I would say it's very cruel for any animal who can't protect themselves or defend themselves. I'd say that's a very bad thing to do.
I think that would be an inappropriate way to examine any organism. I think it'd be inhumane. I think examining internal organs in general is acceptable if done appropriately. I think that it's necessary to have guidelines of how to go about dissecting, how to go about handling animals, so it is, again, humane to the animals.
So how would I feel? I guess it would really depend on the actual situation. Weighing the benefit of the research versus the suffering of the animal.
I don't think any creature should have its organs removed while it's alive. I certainly wouldn't wish that upon myself or any other human being, so why would I wish it on an animal?
Could you compare the worth of one species to another in your own opinion for us?
It's hard to necessarily give it one animal worth over another. I think animals can be handled differently depending on if they're vertebrates or invertebrates. I think vertebrates should be handled with more care and more concern. If you are doing dissections, it is a little bit more difficult to make sure you are effectively euthanizing it. With invertebrates, they don't have the same kind of the same kind of nervous system, so they can't feel as much. I think you can be a little bit less stringent about requirements for euthanizing, but I wouldn't necessarily say that means that one is worth more than the other.
You look at animal models, higher animals as vertebrates, being less ideal to use versus invertebrates, so like a fly or an insect versus a fish. And so when we're talking about medical research, most people would probably argue that an invertebrate is easier to use or better to use because it's not a higher organism as a vertebrate.
Well, being human, I would say yes. Humans would hold the priority there. But as far as animals are concerned, and I'm an animal lover, a variety of things, mostly, pets. I have and have had dogs and cats. So we have to, being a higher species, interact with all the animals that exist here because they were here first.
Yes, I think you can based on the intelligence level of the animal and their capacity to feel pain.
Okay.
The worth of the animal.
All men are created equal, therefore all animals are. I don't know. It's an interesting question because it's I think just general equality is better to go with. Yeah.
How do you imagine you'd feel if we told you that the creature on Earth from the first question was in fact a captured fly that was alive as we removed its intestines?
Well, to be honest, that would be okay. It being a fly.
With a fly, I would be less inclined to be as concerned about it. Because, again, an insect versus a vertebrate, probably most people would consider that insect a lower organism. So invertebrates, like insects, aren't covered by IACUC overview, so there's no regulations involved with that.
I wouldn't feel terrible, but I'd think that was unnecessary.
That's interesting because no one thinks of insects as like animals. That's a very interesting question. I guess, I mean, as humans we tend to, like, that tends to dampen the blow when it's an insect instead of any other animal. So I guess I feel bad about saying that I don't feel as bad, which is bad.
That would still bother me. For example, sometimes in this lab we work with damselflies, which are like a more delicate dragonfly for a description. And if I see somebody who is dissecting it and they don't euthanize it first, I usually stop them and ask them to euthanize it properly. I don't think that any animal should just be outright dissected without giving it a chance to not feel it first.
In regard to the first question, what did you originally imagine the creature to be?
I pictured some sweet-looking animal like a giraffe or a manatee or something like that, where it's like you just feel sad for it. Cause
I was thinking more of monkeys and rats, those animals that have already had a lot of testing done on them.
A live mammal, some kind of mammal.
Some kind of mammal.
I pictured a whale,
Okay.
which is really odd because I don't do anything with whales.
Originally, when it probably would have thought it been an invertebrate, because I guess I would imagine that you would remove the intestines of an invertebrate to harvest to check for something or other. To be quite honest, you would never want to, or you'd have to really justify if you're going to remove the intestines of a live vertebrate. Usually you'd euthanize it first before you would harvest any organs. So you'd have to really make a justification for removing organs in a live animal, which is, again, you'd have to go through the IACUC committee to do that before you would even attempt to do that.
How much of an issue do you feel our stray population is, and how do you feel it is nationally?
Okay, it is a very big issue. I've been here 25 years now and just never seeing it slow down as far as all these strays coming in and knowing that even then there's still so many more out there. And from what I understand, it is a worldwide issue that we as people created by getting these dogs and cats and then not spaying and neutering them, where it just got out of hand. Most people that do have litters that aren't very well educated will just dump them out somewhere where, of course, they're I can't go up with the word. They're reproducing. And so it's a never-ending thing. You know, we as shelters nationwide, you know, we have this mandatory spay-neuter so that we at least know that everything that leaves our facility is fixed.
I guess if you're referring to the stray cats on campus, I don't feel like it's an issue. The only time I think it's an issue is when the stray animals are a threat to the people in the neighborhood. For example, stray dogs have attacked a lot of children. You know, I think it depends on how much of a threat they are.
As far as here on campus, I think at this time, maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, it was kind of an issue. A lot of cats, and I love cats, but stray animals generally lead to some danger for the students here on campus. So that, I feel, should be limited. And I think the authorities have done that, so because those are not a problem right now.
Do you have opinion about the national stray population?
Well, the national stray population, then I would have to go along with spading and neutering, simply because not all families or all people really want to take in animals or even care about animals.
Nationally, it is a huge problem, which is not surprising. And even on campus, there is a large stray population or feral population, especially of cats. Nationally, it's a huge problem as well too. Yeah.
It's hard for me to say here on campus. This is my first semester here, and
Okay.
I did come from out of state, so I'm comparing this campus to my previous campus, which was much larger and had a pretty large feral cat population. I'd say it's much more under control here. I'm not sure if they're doing anything in terms of like trap, neuter, release kind of actions. If they were, that'd be great. But I wouldn't say it's terrible here. Again, it's hard for me to really give a good opinion, not knowing exactly how bad it is. Nationally, I'd say a lot more could be done in terms of trap, neuter, release. Personally, I feel it's difficult or nearly impossible to capture a feral cat and give it as a pet. I mean, because once a cat's feral, it's not going to be a pet. It's just not, if it goes to a shelter, it's going to get put down. So I think the trap, neuter, release is really the best solution to handling that kind of a situation, and I wish that was more advertised and acted on.
I don't think it's a big deal on campus. I mean, like, theater department has our cats, which we love and we take care of. But I don't know of any like stray dogs running around or anything like that. So I don't think it's a big problem on campus. But I think nationally, it is bigger because it is magnified. Get your pets spayed and neutered.
Okay. Could you elaborate on the cat population here that you just talked about for those of us who don't know?
The theater department, there are a couple cats that frequently visit outside, and we occasionally leave them food and whatnot, and they trust the people around here. And I think there's like 3 of them that always come back here.
How do you imagine you'd feel if we told you that legislation was being put into place that required a breeder's license to maintain a cat or a dog if you refused to get it spayed or neutered, and the penalty would be like a fine?
That's actually a really intelligent alternative, I think. I mean, because I think that someone should know in advance that if you're going to get a pet, you need to think about getting it spayed or neutered. And if they don't have the funds for it, then maybe they shouldn't get a kitten or a puppy or an animal that's young. They should get one that's already been spayed or neutered. I think that's actually a really good idea.
I don't think it'd be such a bad idea, honestly, because like in the neighborhood I grew up in, there was a guy that had pit bulls, and they kept getting loose and breeding and stuff, and that was a threat. That was kind of dangerous, but I have to think on that more. But right now I can't think of any cons to that, depending on the fine.
I would be for that. I actually believe most pets should be spayed or neutered because of overpopulation, also because most pets who are spayed or neutered have less health complications associated with it. So I am all for that.
I think it would help, but having my own animals right now, it would be an additional task as far as owning an animal. But I think that would begin to clarify those who really want animals and love animals. Having to get a license would just be part of it. We get them shots, we give them medication, we even have them get operated on. So a license would just be part of that whole process.
I don't know how I feel about that, because I think that's putting a lot of stipulations on something that you really don't need to.
I think that would be going a little too far. What I'm in favor for more is pet licensing. In that way, if your pet is not spayed or neutered, the license fee goes way up, which would be an incentive for this owner to have it spayed or neutered.
According to the U.S. Humane Society, around 4 million cats and dogs are put down in the U.S. shelters every year, about 1 every 8 seconds. Methods of legal euthanasia include sodium pentobarbital, which is injected into the animal's vein or directly into the heart, Generally, though not always, after it has been rendered unconscious and insensitive to pain, as this is extremely painful. Carbon monoxide chambers are still legal. Gunshot is legal. Use of carbon dioxide is also legal. Knowing this, has the depth of your view in regard to the stray population and unwanted animals issue changed, and if so, how?
No, I think some of those methods are awful. Like, I believe if you have to put down anything, you should do it as painless as possible. But I don't know if my view on the stray population has changed, because I mean here it's not too terribly big of a problem, but I mean that is a problem if all those methods are still legal to put down animals with.
What we deal with here every morning is euthanasia, and we do use the sodium pentobarbital into the vein. Many times we'll use a mixture of ketamine and xylazine to put them under where they don't feel a thing. I don't agree with gas chambers or gunshots, and luckily these things are being done away with.
Well, I would hope that one of the more humane methods, the animal being unconscious, and the injection. All of the others have been used and are probably used by individuals that aren't officials. So something more humane. We can't be overrun by the animals either. So some control, and that control would have to be some degree of euthanasia.
No. Most of those procedures, if done correctly, other than the gunshot, which I don't think, even though it's illegal, it's not a preferred method, it is best if you give them a shot. Usually it's 2 shots. At least most animals, you put them under and then give them the shot to stop the heart. So it is as humane as possible.
There should be some regulations then put on shelters as how they handle it. It might be more expensive, but I think it'd be worth it if we're being, treating animals humanely.
Okay, I guess I only think they should be put down if they're a danger to society.
Okay.
And I think the only ways they should be allowed to be put down are completely, there should be no pain involved. I don't see why it's necessary that any pain, like carbon monoxide or something, there's a way to kill something without causing a pain. And I think that should be only in circumstances where the animal is a threat.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to say regarding... What perfect timing!
Gosh, really just like to urge everybody to spay and neuter as much as they can and to pass the word around. And we do offer spay-neuter financial assistance here.
Really?
If you're on any kind of government assistance, you can get it done here for $10. So if that's not an incentive, then I don't know what is.
Goodness.
And that would help us out a great deal. And your community as a whole. There wouldn't be strays running around, dogs forming packs and biting people, so it would be a good thing all over.
I think more education. It could be just question and answer for individuals in apartments, inner city, children, Christmas gifts. All those things should be made or discussed more, so that any individual getting an animal understand the commitment when you get that animal. It is not exactly like having a child, but it's going to be as close as you're going to find. That's my opinion.
Well, thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you very much.